you learned something from the day before. Like, we were fresh to the set. Like, we were just there 24 hours filming the Warrior Wasp. Everybody knew their moves. The light structure was the same. Everything was just like, repeat what we did yesterday, only do it better. Everything needs to be better, because if this is the final chapter, it has to be the best one. And as soon as I put that wasp to my arm, it stung immediately. I think it took one swing where we caught the stinger on camera and it missed. And again, this is me trying to remember because I haven't seen the footage since we reviewed it after the fact. I think it took a swing and it missed, repositioned, and then boom. Just as equivalent as the tarantula hawk, like a lightning bolt of pain into my arm. And where the bullet ant was a ramp, this was just immediate.
It's like getting hit by a truck.
I remember the stinger just for some reason feeling like it went deeper than any stinger had gone before. Granted, the velvet ant had a longer stinger, so at the angle that went to the side, maybe didn't go as deep into the flesh as this did. The stinger on this is bigger than the stinger of the bullet ant. While the bullet ant stinger got stuck and pumped more of that Panera toxin in, it had a different effect, the burning effect. With the executioner wasp, it was an electric, burning, exploding sensation, almost like a small grenade had gone off inside of my arm. And I dropped the forceps, dropped the wasp, got the capsule on top of it very quickly, and then just white out. Don't remember a whole lot of what happened after that.
Really?
No, it was like a similar to the tarantula hawk. I mean, immediately put me on the ground, bring out the dramatic antics of like, this is it. And I remember the ground, it had rained the night before, so the ground was wet. It was saturated. And I remember at one point, like, something I had not done before was to pound my fist into the ground. So I started pounding the ground. I remember my hands sinking through the mud, and we got these great shots of me pounding the forest floor, like, ah. And there was a point where, like, my hat had come off of my head, and like my face turned all red, and like my breathing was super intense. I took it to the next level to really make this one the best. And the pain certainly delivered to help me get there, right? So experiencing the pain and going through the dramatics play, you know, parallel to each other, where it's like, you can act and you can fake something. You could certainly also be incredibly tough and just take what this is. You know, I'm sure when Brian was stung, he's swearing and shaking his arm and stomping around like, gosh, what have I just gone through? But for me, no swear words. Just give the audience that display, give the cameras that display physically of what your body's going through, adds to that suspense. So because we haven't cut the episode yet at this point in time, I don't know how we'll compose all that together, but I know it's going to be good. I know that I feel like my level of performance in what I went through with the pain coupled with the dramatics is going to be the best yet. And of that, I think we were really excited. And once, I mean, there was a significant amount of time that took me to recover from what this was. I would say a similar amount of time to the bullet ant as far as being on the ground and then being able to be wrangled back into, return to the table to give a cohesive explanation of what it was I was going through. And I don't remember a whole lot of what it is, and it's kind of tough to even give you this story because until I see it displayed out and edited, I'm going off of memory. But I do remember talking about the similarities to the tarantula hawk, what I was experiencing that was like the bullet ant, and the burning sensation that was going through my arm, and then how I really got super lightheaded and like I was going to pass out, and like, man, like, it's the tarantula hawk times 10. Because the tarantula hawk, like I said, maybe 5 minutes at the most, 10 minutes of uncomfortableness. This was 20 minutes in, and I was still experiencing tarantula hawk pain. And there was not the equivalent level
like
of
tarantula
paralysis.
hawk pain, but not bullet hawk pain. Like, I mean, bullet ant pain.
It was the tarantula hawk pain consistently that the bullet ant was not. The bullet ant just became a burning, searing sensation where the tarantula hawk was electrical in nature. So this was more on the side of the tarantula hawk than it was the bullet ant for the incredible, intense level of pain.
And it was just like a high and flat line. Like it wasn't getting worse.
It wasn't getting worse.
Waves.
It was just like extreme from the start, extreme continuous. For, I want to say, upwards 30 minutes. I mean, one of the most intense, consistent pains I've ever felt in my life. And again, stings versus bites. It was on par with like the giant desert centipede bite is one of the most painful bites I've ever taken. Again, a bite. This was similar in nature to that, where it's like the potency of that venom was so powerful that it was cooking my arm. And the ultimate after effect of what ended up happening is that it did rot a hole in my arm, was the after effect of the execution wasp. It's like if you ever had a really bad pimple or a chicken pox or something like that like you popped it and it scabbed and you scratch it and there's like a divot formed. Yeah. That is what
like
this
do you have a scar
did.
from it?
I don't today. It was today I do not. I mean, kind of a little bit. I think this is where it was right there. It's tough to see. It was like in this area. That's a scab now.
Yeah, I can see like a
there's
little
like
bit
a
of
spot
whiteness.
there.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we filmed after the fact with it or showed after the fact with it. But it did. Like Brian said, it cooked a hole in my arm. It was like a grenade went off inside of my arm and cooked the flesh and the cells, and the venom broke down. So it had some necrotic like aspects to it, like a rattlesnake or a brown recluse, which is a venomous bite from the snake or the spider, will actually eat away, cause necrosis and break down those blood cells and cause the flesh to deteriorate. Something in the execution wasp venom, I do not know what, because I did not take venom and put it in a lab, and I don't think anybody can tell you anything about the execution wasp venom at this point scientifically, nothing that I've ever read. But some aspect of it definitely destroyed flesh. So I could see where, I don't know that there is a nest of them anywhere. I've only ever seen what I saw, which was 3 wasps on a nest. So the odds of you ever stumbling upon, a bunch of these, like you can giant hornets or warrior wasps, and then taking you down and killing you, I can't say that that's possible. I can't say that it's impossible, but certainly no one's ever been killed by an executioner wasp. But as far as the single sting and what that single sting does to you, the intimidation factor of the design of this animal, and the idea that if you were to be attacked by hundreds of these, it is the most painful sting in the world. It is the most dangerous sting you can take. It is the king of sting.